All right, welcome back to the Christmas Invitational, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. We are in game number 1 in this fresh best of 3, and I know some of you guys want to see Vortex versus NMrUUG, but apparently the admins of this tournament didn't quite have that under wraps, so I apologize, but we still bring you another match rather than sitting here on our thumbs for another hour. So, without further ado, spawning in the top left corner of the map, it is the blue Protoss, known as Nara. And his opponent in the upper right, we just saw him take a vicious beating from Vortex. Can he recover? It is Aqueron. So this is the losers series of Group 1. Looks like Nara did lose 2-0 to, 0-2 to NMrUUG. So the winner of this basically goes on to fight the winner of the other series and to see who advances out of the group. Again, there's 8 group stages in total, guys. This will make for a pretty awesome round of 8 for, I believe, tomorrow. I'm not quite sure how far they go today, but yeah, it should make for some good stuff for sure. Now, Nara being Protoss on a map like Alter Seam actually has a lot of things going for him. Again, it's a massively large map to the point where it's almost insane. And I reiterate from the previous game, 20 freaking bases. Now, why am I saying that Nara's got something good for him? Is it a race complaint? Is it a balanced wine? No, it's neither of the two. It's just the warp and mechanic on this map is fantastic for traversing this huge, enormous map. I mean, for a Terran player to rally Marines across the map, I guess if you got a long, consistent line that is constantly reinforcing, that's not an issue, but you know, it's still a long way to walk one way or another. If you get instant warp-ins, you're going to find yourself in a lot better of a situation. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Comes up here and does scout that, or he should scout that second Rax, Nara that is. There's not a lot to really stop him, of course. Let's try to keep an eye on his vision. Scouting the second Rax is actually going to be kind of big, because whether Aqueron's going to go for Reapers, whether he's going to go for a Marine push or something insane really early, it's the difference of Nara knowing whether he needs to chrono the mothership core out or just get it out in due time. And looks like, okay, he does scout it, just barely. For a moment there, I thought he was going to leave the base without seeing it. So second Rax this early is not exactly the most alarming thing in the universe. Ever since the Oracle got that speed change, it's been a lot more prevalent in this matchup, and you actually see a lot of Terran players either A, trying to put on a ton of aggression early on with something like this extra Rax, or you end up getting 3 quickly just to get the Marine production to expand. Because if you go for an expand first, typically the Oracle hits at a timing where you don't have the Marine count capable to defend against it. Now that probe did get out of the base. I don't think Nara's thinking about putting a proxy down, although proxy Stargates are incredibly common in this matchup. But looks like it's just going to be a lot of Reaper pressure for the time being. And for now, that's actually fine. He's got to find his opponent first, though, which is actually kind of critical. An expansion being favored over top of the Warp Tech or a Stalker, but with the Mothership Core coming out, that Reaper will arrive at the base just in time to get shut down. Really not a lot that can get done. Now, if he keeps producing Reapers, that's what I'm going to be quite curious about. Going up to 4 in total. Typically 5 is where you see versus Protoss if you want to be really aggressive underneath the Mothership Core, so 4 for the time being. And there's number 5, okay. I wasn't sure if he was going to go for that or not. Command Center coming down in base 2, so it's not like this is an all-in ploy, it's just 2 Raxes with a lot of pressure. The idea behind this is like, a Stalker can drive off 1, no problem. Dealing with 2 becomes problematic. Ooh, even denies the Twilight Council, or sorry, wait, is it Twilight? Yeah, Twilight Council. I'm thinking Templar Archive. I was trying to mix that up. But yeah, denies the Twilight Council, doesn't go down, so Blink's going to be delayed off this. Charge is going to be delayed off this. Whatever tech path Nara wanted to take, a little bit denied to him. With that 4th Reaper coming in as these combat drugs kick in, the Reapers can go in and snipe off the Stalker, guys. It's weird to consider, but can it actually happen? Aqueron could get some pretty nice damage here in the early game. Mothership Core, of course, can't be touched by any of this as it is in the air, but that being said, it's got a lot of damage. A lot of people underestimate it. Might only hit for 8, but it hits really quick, and Reapers, they can outrun it, sure. Just, I guess, depends on your control. If you could somehow bait out an overcharge with these Reapers, that'd be pretty cool, too. Stim has been started behind this, so he's not looking all in again, guys. He's just 5 Reapers of pressure is a really nice amount of pressure. Unfortunately, loses a Reaper for no gain whatsoever, and that actually really kills the potential damage of this. Reapers are this. They don't snowball easily, but they're required to snowball to be really effective. With only 4 Reapers, there's actually not a lot he can do. He can try picking off a Stalker if it's alone randomly, but that's not going to happen. Looks like Probe will die in the natural base of Aqueron. So the first thing... Well, actually, the Reaper died, never mind. Really quick Templar Archives, I must say. I'm really curious on Nara's choice for this. I mean, quick storms are not bad per se, but you usually pair this up with charge lots because storms alone are not enough to rely on. You can try, I guess, and maybe if you get the best ghost use storms in the world, then it's not an issue, but Nara is going to have something other than just pure storms. It's really not difficult either, too. Like, for a Terran player who, like, Aqueron, yeah, he deathballed a little bit against Vortex in his previous series, but one thing he had was, you know, he would always pre-split. He'd have his mines positioned quite nicely. I wouldn't be surprised if he was pretty good at storm dodging, in all honesty. Sadly, has not seen anything behind the mineral lines in quite some time. So has no idea this is here. Ooh, Scan does catch it, though. Single biggest thing about the Scan, even seeing a chrono boost on this. So he's got to be like, wow, those are some really fast storms. And this is because, oh my god, is he going to do storm drops? Is that why he's chronoing these out so quick? This could actually be really cool. Nara with the special tactics, if this is going to work. I say special a little bit jokingly, but this is actually legitimate. As oftentimes, you know, you've got that big clump of SCVs and mules at your natural base. You're not going to see this coming for a while, and if he gets there quickly, yeah, it looks like it will be for storm drops. This is really cool. So Nara, now he's going to get the forges down to make up for that lost time. This is something that I can only best describe as gimmicky, because look what's coming outside his front base. This is typically why you don't rush across the map with this, because he's going to rely purely and entirely on a photon overcharge to hold this. 3 stalkers is not going to engage this army. This marauders here, stims finish, overcharge does go off, but look at this. You can just try and skirt around it. Nara can pop off of that second overcharge if necessary. Has to make sure he does it soon though, because the Marines can get right on top of the mothership core. Now being driven back from this, the time warp does go down, but now the army pushes towards the natural. Will the storm drops be good enough though? There's not a lot of SCVs here. Nara's going to have to go for the main. A storm drop at the natural will not cut it. It will not suffice. Natural base of Nara has been absolutely eradicated, though the probe's been pulled off the line, but the damage is going to be done. The Immortal will get in here. Looks like he will try and clean this up. I think the focus fire might be a little too much. That Nexus is actually somehow going to stand. Meanwhile, in the main base of Aqueron, storms are about to be laid down, and the hurt is thrown. The Archon is warped in, or merged, I should say, not warped in. 11 kills for Nara, 9 kills for Nara, 11 kills for Aqueron, not too shabby. Archon going to do a little bit more damage. Even picks it up with the warp prism to get it on out of there. Looks like the Nexus in the meantime did hold at Nara's base. Again, not too unsurprising. It was going to be a little bit dicey with those Marines, but the follow-up push to this is quite scary. There's Immortals, there's charge lots, and, well, actually, no, sorry, not charge lots. Charges on the way, but there's Zealots, there's Stalkers. Quite frankly, Aqueron is in the same awkward situation he was last game against Vortex, where I look at his base and it's like, where is your army? Yeah, I like that pun in chat out of Uber Mike. Yeah, if they were playing on Aqueron Waste, this would probably give me a headache, trying to say Aqueron. I just feel like super Asian. Looks like Archon, though, will be coming into Aqueron. Oh god, that's even worse. Archon, Aqueron. The Aquerons on Aqueron Waste. Anyways, he's going to start picking off the mineral line here. This is, of course, to draw the attention of Aqueron away, but if Aqueron responds to the natural, his main is wide open, so pulls SCVs to deal with them, and unfortunately, SCVs don't do too well with an Archon. It does deal bonus damage for some power and splash. Big push into the main as charge completes. That timing was a little bit too good, and while there's no storms available, actually one storm available, is it going to go down the bio or will go down on the SCVs? Good splitting out of Aqueron. Like I said, guys, he's got the skills to pay the bills, just not the macro to Tango? I don't know. Anyways, looks like this will end up being the end of the game here. All the SCVs are pretty much dead, down to 9 workers. Immortal's still standing. The Archon's going to deal with the bio. This might drive Nara back ever so slightly, but every single SCV at the Natural's been killed. Most of the ones in the main are dead. There's like a mule that's not even mining. Aqueron missed the mineral patch. Oh god, do I know that feeling. 4 workers in total. And this mule's not mining. Oh god, that's painful. Big warping. Additional Zealots coming in. I actually like that he picked them up. It's actually kind of a neat move. Meanwhile, back at home, Nara's taking a third base. He's putting down additional gateways. He's chronoing out the upgrades. This is his game. He's on 1-1. Aqueron finds himself without upgrades again in another matchup. And, you know, TVP, upgrades are way more important than TVZ, in my opinion. The fact that he's still naked has, well, I mean, has no effect on the game. He's lost this. There's no army value available. There's no SCVs. Marini's going to try and rush in against this. Kills the Warp Prism, but again, the national base has been gutted. Mules are great, but if, yeah. Really unfortunate for Aqueron. It's the upgrades that come into this game more than anything else. It's not that there's a supply difference. It's not that it's 53 workers to 6. Well, 9 now, sorry. But it's most importantly these upgrades. Once 2-2 is finished, that bio is not going to touch any sort of zealots that come across. Now, Nara does have to be careful, though. He's going to win this game as long as he doesn't do some mega throw, and one thing he has to be careful of, well, I take careful back. He's suddenly warped in this massive army out of nowhere. Backing up, though, waiting for Storms to get in the front lines might be a little bit better than this engagement, but looks like charge lots are still going to be pretty darn good. The Immortal's going to be a little bit too scary for the Marauders to dance with, and 3 Storms. Aqueron, let's see how good you can dance. It's like a custom game at this point. You get like the Micro Master Tournament. Like you just got, you gotta somehow win. But even at the top of the ramp here, even with some pre-spreading and bunkers coming down, I feel it's all for naught. It might be a little too late at this point. Chargeless on the front lines. Storm's gonna go down on the right, on the north, and unfortunately these medevacs are now dry. Every single unit goes down. It looks like game number 1 finally being secured by Nara. Good game is called. Woo! Alright, so again, I gotta say Aqueron, not to be overly critical of him, but it seems like he plays a little too liberal with his army, a little too fast and loose, if you will. Because that's basically 3 games we've cast of this young budding Terran at this point. And every single game, he makes the right moves, he's got great control, he splits like a boss, but then finds himself without an army. And it's not because his macro is slipping, he just has no army behind anything. Gives it all away, one big blowout, and of course this Terran, you're not supposed to play in a death ball style, so we'll see if we can fix this here in the next game. Game number